Hey everyone, welcome back to the English Coffee Talk Show. I'm Eva, and I'm so happy you're here with us today. Whether you're commuting, doing dishes, or going for a walk, you're in the right place. We chat, laugh, and learn English together, always over a good cup of coffee. Speaking of which, James, I saw your message this morning. You need to explain yourself.
Hey Eva, hey everyone. Okay, full transparency, I tried something at the coffee shop yesterday that has genuinely changed my understanding of what coffee is allowed to be. And I'm still not sure if it was a good change or a deeply confusing one.
Okay, I'm already nervous. What was it?
A brown butter cold brew. They took cold brew coffee and infused it with brown butter, as in the stuff you put on pasta or a steak, topped it with sea salt, served over ice, and handed it to me with a completely straight face, like this was perfectly normal.
Brown butter in coffee. James, that sounds like something that happened by accident in a kitchen and then someone decided to charge $8 for it.
$8? It was $9.50, Eva. $9.50. And here's the thing, I almost don't want to admit this. It was actually kind of incredible. Nutty and rich and savory and sweet all at once. I stood there genuinely confused about whether I loved it or needed to sit down and think about my life choices.
I love that. Coffee can just be whatever it wants to be at this point. The boundaries have dissolved. Anyway, speaking of things that come once a year and make you feel all sorts of complicated emotions.
Oh, that is the smoothest transition you have ever done on this show. I am genuinely impressed.
Thank you. I've been practicing. Yes, today we are talking all about birthdays in English. The vocabulary, the idioms, the cultural traditions, the do's and don'ts of talking about age in English-speaking cultures. By the end of this episode, you'll feel totally confident navigating any birthday conversation in English. Let's get into it.
I'm really excited about this one. Birthdays have so much specific, colorful vocabulary in English, and if you don't know it, you miss a lot of the humor and warmth in those conversations. And Eva, I feel like you have a story that is, how do I put this, legendary among people who know you.
Oh no. Yes. Okay. So my best friend Mara was turning 30. And in English, we say turning 30, not becoming 30. We say turning a certain age, like she's turning 30 next week. We'll come back to that phrase. So Mara was turning 30, and her husband Daniel decided to throw her a surprise party. Throw a party means to organize and host a party for someone. And bless his heart, he asked me to help.
Okay, I already have a bad feeling about this, and I've heard this story before. Go on.
We spent weeks planning this. We had a nice restaurant back room, 40 guests, decorations, a playlist, and a beautiful custom 3-tier cake with flowers. Very elegant, very Mara. The plan, Daniel tells her it's a quiet birthday dinner. She walks in, we all jump out and yell, "Surprise!" Classic, right?
Classic plan, foolproof. What could possibly go wrong?
Everything, James. Everything went wrong. First, 60 helium balloons, lights off, everyone hiding and whispering, and suddenly one balloon just pops like a gunshot. Everyone gasped. One woman screamed an actual scream, which startled someone else who knocked over a whole tower of plastic champagne glasses, clattering across the floor. We all looked like we were trying very hard not to laugh and also not to have a heart attack.
The screaming woman. Every surprise party has a screaming woman.
She does not apologize for it, by the way. We calm down, get back in order, and then we're waiting and waiting. The time Daniel said they'd arrive comes and goes. 10 more minutes pass. I'm texting him and he's not responding. And then the door to the back room opens, and it's Mara, alone, 45 minutes early. She wanted to make sure they had a good table and just walked straight back there on her own. And every single one of us was standing there in the dark, holding balloons, staring at her.
No. She just walked in on her own surprise party.
We yelled surprise anyway. It was a reflex. All 40 of us went surprise at this woman who had clearly already discovered us. And she just started laughing, tears down her face, can't breathe laughing. Then another balloon popped, the screaming woman screamed again, and the cake arrived. James, it was not our cake. It said, "Happy Retirement, Gerald." It's Gerald! We had a retirement cake for a man named Gerald at my best friend's 30th birthday party.
I love Gerald. I feel like Gerald really brought the party together. Did Mara care? Did she mind that it was Gerald's cake?
She said, and I quote, "I hope Gerald had a great retirement because this chocolate cake is incredible." It was the best birthday party I have ever been to. Absolutely nothing went right, and it was perfect. We still talk about Gerald.
That is genuinely one of the best stories I've ever heard. But I want to pause on a couple of phrases you just used. Throw a party and turning 30. He dropped them in so naturally. Eva, can you break those down for our listeners?
Yes, so throw a party. To throw a party means to organize, plan, and host a party for someone. In English, throw can mean to put something together energetically. You'll hear it all the time. My coworkers threw me a birthday party, or I want to throw a big party for my parents' anniversary. The key thing, you throw a party for someone, or you throw a party and invite people to it.
Right, and it works across all tenses. She threw the most amazing party last summer. Or, hey, are you going to throw a party this year? Very flexible phrase.
Exactly. And turning age, this is how we talk about reaching a new age in English, conversationally. Instead of, I will be 30 years old, say, I'm turning 30. So much more natural. She's turning 40 next month. He just turned 21. You're turning 50? You don't look it. Which, by the way, is a compliment in English-speaking culture.
Okay, let's practice. Eva, how old are you turning this year?
A lady never tells, but I'm turning a very graceful age. How about you, James?
I'm turning 37 this year, which feels very adult and also completely impossible. But that brings me to my own birthday story, which involves a milestone birthday. But before I get into it, should we talk about milestone birthday first?
Yes, a milestone birthday is one that feels especially significant because of the number. In English-speaking cultures, the big milestones are typically 13 when you become a teenager, then 18, 21, 30, 40, 50, and so on. These are the birthdays where people often throw bigger parties or do something really special to celebrate.
You might hear 50 is such a milestone birthday. We have to do something really special. It also connects to the idiom over the hill, which we'll get to in a moment. But first, my story. When my dad turned 50, the official most milestone of all milestones in our family, my grandmother decided to celebrate with what she called the roast. Not a roast dinner, a comedy roast where everyone in the family stood up and made jokes at my dad's expense.
Oh, I love a family roast. Was your dad a good sport about it?
He was, eventually. My grandmother went first, and she was ruthless. She stood up at the dinner table, aunts, uncles, cousins everywhere, completely deadpan, and said, "My son is 50 years old today, which means I've been embarrassed by him for 50 years. Happy birthday." Everyone lost it. Then my uncle started listing every embarrassing thing my dad had ever done, including the time he tried to fix the plumbing himself and flooded the kitchen on Christmas Day. And then I was about 12, stood up with a prepared list titled Top 10 Reasons Dad is Old. Number 1, he calls the remote control a clicker. Number 2, he's never sent a gift correctly in his life.
You wrote a prepared list at 12 years old? That's incredible. What did your dad do?
He pointed at me very solemnly and said, "I'm taking away your allowance." But then he started laughing too, and honestly, it's one of the best family memories I have. That's the beautiful thing about milestone birthdays. They create moments and stories you tell for years, and it connects perfectly to our next idiom, over the hill.
When you say someone is over the hill, you mean they're getting old, past their prime. The image is like climbing a hill. You go up when you're young, reach the peak, then start going down the other side. Over the hill means you've passed that peak. It's used in a teasing, joking way, not meanly. He's turning 40. He's officially over the hill. Or you'd see it on joke birthday cards. You're not old. You're just over the hill. Classic one.
Right. Use it with someone you're comfortable with, a close friend or family member. You wouldn't say it to a colleague you barely know. Context really matters. And all of this reflects something interesting about English-speaking cultures. There's often a mix of humor and sensitivity around getting older, which brings us to something really useful. How do you actually ask someone their age in English? Because it's more complicated than you might think. In many English-speaking countries, directly asking someone their age can feel a little personal, depending on context. In professional settings or with people you've just met, "How old are you?" can feel blunt. Polite alternatives are you celebrating a big birthday this year? Or is this a milestone birthday? Letting the person share as much or as little as they want.
And if someone asks your age and you'd rather not say, keep it light. Let's just say I'm celebrating the anniversary of my 29th birthday. Or I'm at that age where I've stopped counting. A smile and good humor, and no one will push the topic. I love that phrase, the anniversary of my 29th birthday. Classic. Okay, let's move on to two more important birthday phrases, blow out the candles and belated birthday. James, do you want to take blow out the candles?
Sure. Blow out the candles is the action of blowing air to extinguish the candles on a birthday cake. Typically, one candle for each year of the person's age. Everyone gathers around, sings happy birthday, and then the birthday person makes a silent wish and blows out all the candles in one breath. The tradition is that if you blow them all out in one breath, your wish comes true.
You'll hear, come on, let's sing, then you can blow out the candles. Or, did you make a wish? And you never tell anyone your wish. If you tell, it won't come true. Very serious business. Now, belated birthday. Belated means late. A belated birthday greeting arrives after the person's actual birthday. Happy belated birthday when you missed it and are wishing them well after the fact.
This one is so useful because we've all forgotten a birthday at some point. You see a notification a week later and think, oh no. The correct response in a text, a card, a social media comment is happy belated birthday or sorry for the belated birthday wishes. People are generally very understanding. It's a warm, gracious way to acknowledge you're a little late but still care.
Exactly. And let's quickly talk about how to write birthday messages in English because our listeners do this all the time for colleagues, friends, social media, and it's great to have natural phrases ready. For a casual text to a close friend, happy birthday, hope you have the most amazing day, you deserve it. Or, it's your day, wishing you all the best things. Something with personality and warmth.
For a more formal message, a colleague or acquaintance, try wishing you a wonderful birthday and a fantastic year ahead. Or, happy birthday, I hope today is everything you hoped for. And for social media, people often keep it short. Happy birthday with a few emojis, or wishing you all the best on your special day. The key ingredients are always warmth, good wishes, and sincerity.
Yes, don't overthink it. A simple, genuine, happy birthday, I hope you have a wonderful day, goes such a long way. Just write something that feels true to you and the warmth will come through. Now, before our wrap-up, I want to quickly touch on some birthday cultural traditions in English-speaking countries because they're fun to know about. So the most universal tradition is singing happy birthday. When the birthday cake comes out, usually with the candles already lit, everyone in the room sings happy birthday to you. Same song almost everywhere. Then the birthday person blows out the candles and there's clapping, cheering, and sometimes a chant of speech, speech if it's a big party, or everyone wants the birthday person to say a few words.
And in the UK, there's a tradition called the birthday bumps. The birthday person gets lifted up by their arms and legs and bumped up and down, gently, in theory, once for each year of their age plus one for good luck. So if you're turning 7, you get 7 bumps plus 1. It sounds chaotic, and honestly, it kind of is. For kids, though, it's genuinely exciting. You feel like royalty being carried around.
Birthday traditions vary a lot between families and regions. Some do big parties, some keep it simple. Some people find being sung to absolutely mortifying. It's all personal, but the common thread is making the person feel special and celebrated. That's the core of it. Okay, time for our recap.
Let's do it. This was such a good episode. I feel like we covered so much ground today.
All right, so let's do a quick vocabulary recap so you can lock in what we learned today. First phrase. Throw a party. This means to organize and host a party for someone. Example, we're going to throw a party for her graduation next weekend. James, can you give us another example?
His friends threw him a surprise party and he had absolutely no idea it was coming. Perfect. And remember, you can throw a party for any occasion, not just birthdays.
Love it. Next, turning age. This is how we describe reaching a new age in English in a natural, conversational way. Instead of, I will be 30 years old, say, I'm turning 30. James?
She's turning 25 next month and already planning a big trip to celebrate. Don't say becoming, just turning. That one small word makes you sound so much more natural in English.
Great. Next, belated birthday. Remember, belated means late, so a belated birthday greeting is when you send after the birthday has already passed. It's a polite, warm way to acknowledge that you're a little late with your wishes. And the phrase is, happy belated birthday. James?
I just saw that it was your birthday last week. Happy belated birthday. I hope you had a wonderful day. Totally natural. People appreciate the thought even if it's a bit late.
And finally, over the hill. This is a playful, humorous idiom that means someone is getting old, past their prime. Use it with good friends and family in a teasing, affectionate way. James?
Don't worry about turning 40. Over the hill just means the view gets better from here. A sweet way to flip the idiom into something positive. Use idioms creatively. That's a mark of a truly fluent speaker.
Okay, friends, that's a wrap on today's episode of the English Coffee Talk Show. I hope you feel more confident now navigating any birthday conversation in English. You've got the tools, and that is something to celebrate.
Absolutely. Language learning is a lot like a birthday. It comes with surprises, a few things that don't go according to plan, and at the end of it, you're a little bit wiser and hopefully surrounded by people cheering for you. So cheers to all of you for being here and putting in the work. It genuinely means a lot.
If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe wherever you're listening and turn on notifications so you never miss a new episode. And if you're feeling generous, leave us a 5-star review. It takes 30 seconds and genuinely helps more learners find this show.
And our question for you this week, how do you celebrate your birthday? Big party, quiet dinner, travel, or ignore it entirely? Drop your answer in the comments. We read every single one and love hearing about traditions from all around the world.
Thank you for listening, everyone. I'm Eva. This has been the English Coffee Talk Show. Keep practicing, keep showing up for yourself, and remember, every conversation in English is a step forward. Happy birthday to anyone out there celebrating, Gerald's cake or not.
Happy birthday, Gerald, wherever you are. Take care, everyone. See you next time.